Chapter 20. Places I travel to over and over again. Before I talk about places out of town, there are places close to home that draw me in for special reasons. One main reason is that they remind me of my childhood. Visiting these places just seems to take me back in time. Whenever we are going to the west side or south side of town, we take Logan Avenue south through Madison Square. Madison Square is a corner where several Danville streets intersect Logan. Chandler, West Harrison, and West Madison come together to form Madison Square. It used to be the entry point for getting into town from the west. We lived on the west side of town when I grew up, so this was the route into town. It also was Illinois Route 10. It is no longer the main highway since Route 150 was built in the 60s right through the heights and across the river. The old bridge across the river to Madison Square is no longer usable, but is still standing with 50 feet removed on each end. It was built around 1900. Madison Square has good memories for me. It had several businesses, none still alive, but many of the buildings are there. Today, when you come down Logan traveling south, you can still read the faded out sign on the side of the old grocery store that reads Madison Square Grocery. There was also the Old Eagles Club, J. Balsley's Cafe, 2 gas stations, a Grab-It-Here store, and B&J Music. There is one more thing that was there, but long gone, is the apartment building where my dad lived with his first wife back about 1943 or 44. Another place that takes me back is Steak and Shake. This restaurant chain started in central Illinois back in the 40s. They have had 5 or 6 different locations in Danville over the years. The first one I can remember was on West Main Street on the south side. My dad would take us there for their famous burgers and shakes and their curbside service. When I was a teenager, we would always visit the 2 stores, one on East Main and one on North Vermilion. What I really mean is that we would cruise through the lots to check out who was out and about. This was a ritual on the weekends, and even sometimes during the week, rain or shine, winter or summer. The amazing thing about going to Steak and Shake today is that they still look pretty much as they did then in design and layout, but no curb service. And you can still get the same meals, and the taste is very close to the same as back then. I hate it that I can't take the onions like I used to, and they have changed the recipe for the chili mac. Otherwise, it's like going back in time. Now, for some places out of town. Joni and I love to fish and take our boat on weekend trips to Kentucky Lake. Now that Joni has retired, we can make these trips during the week and avoid the weekend crowds, which is much better. Kentucky Lake offers great fishing, beautiful scenery, and is a 5 to 6 hour drive away. When Joni and I first started our trips to this lake, we would go to Buchanan Resort, which is in Tennessee and near Paris Landing. After a few trips to this spot, we found a nice place just up the lake into Kentucky waters called Cypress Springs Resort. This is a little shorter drive and has all the things we look for on our trips. The resort is a nice family-owned business, and now into the 2nd and 3rd generations. The accommodations are just a short motel-like set of rooms behind the restaurant and overlooking the bay. They have a large marina, so we also get a nice covered slip to leave the boat during our stay. Over the years, we try to get down there once in the late spring and once after Labor Day. If we wait too long in the fall, many of the places on the water close for the season. One of those we like to visit before they close is Fat Daddy's. It is a large floating bar restaurant that is a nice 20-minute boat ride down the lake. We will take a time out from fishing midday to go down there for lunch and a margarita. That is just one of the things that make us want to come back. About 10 or 12 years ago, we started what is now a tradition. We plan months in advance to do our November trip to the Keys. This is our favorite spot and is my favorite spot to celebrate my birthday. My love for the Keys started years before when the winter fishing trip with my buddies took us all the way to Key Largo. We would usually fish for crappies in Central Florida, but we heard about a houseboat trip in Florida Bay. Actually, Mike Sullivan and his wife had moved from Danville and started a houseboat rental business in Key Largo called Smilin' Island Houseboats. They offered us a great deal and we went for it. After doing the houseboat thing a couple of times with the fishing buddies, Joni and I enjoyed a special vacation on one of these houseboats with my daughter Michelle and her husband Dave. A houseboat vacation is something that I have done many times, and I certainly would do it again. Mike and Ruth Sullivan had a friend that owned and ran a small resort on the water just a couple blocks up the road. I stayed there once in the 80s with my fishing buddies. I really liked the place and how it was right on the water. It was called Sunset Cove Resort. Today it has new owners and it has been continuously updated and remodeled, but it has kept its early Keys look and feel, which really sets it apart and keeps us coming back. The timing of our trip to the Keys has to do with the final and championship race for NASCAR in Homestead, Florida. We get our same seat tickets, reserve our favorite suite, and clear our calendar for that week. We had been traveling by air and renting a car, but the last 2 years we have been driving. We took our new Mustang last year and loved it. The race and my birthday are always the same week, and sometimes on the same day, like this year. This gives us the opportunity to celebrate my birthday with lunch at Señor Frijoles, our favorite lunch spot in the Key Largo. We do go there for the race, but there are many other exciting things that we do on the trip. The racetrack is just a 25-minute drive up US Route 1 to the first traffic light, turn right, and drive down to the track parking lots. Leaving the track is very, very easy too. Even with the sellout crowds, entering and leaving the track is smooth and easy from the south. This is a great benefit of staying in Key Largo. Staying at Sunset Cove gives us the chance to see and do lots of different things. We can walk to many of the restaurants and attractions. Just a short walk up Route 1 is the home of the African Queen from the movie. It is still available for rides. The resort has kayaks for the guests, and we love to get the two-person one and paddle up and down the cove. Sometimes we see a porpoise or manatee swimming close to us. Next door is a nice restaurant that has an outdoor bar and live music every night. If we have an extra day, we travel down the Keys and spend a day in Key West. It's 99 miles down and 99 miles back, and that takes all day. A few times we have stayed overnight in Key West and returned to Sunset Cove. There is so much we can enjoy while we are there, but I think we find it so nice just to walk out our door, sit on the beach, and just relax. There are beautiful sunsets, warm breezes, and calming waves washing ashore. Hard to beat a trip to Sunset Cove.